be doing a video showing you all of my craft supplies, which I recently organized and labeled. So this video is going to have a lot of the same sounds, just some dense tapping sounds. And I'm just going to be tapping and tracing on these boxes, just kind of talking about my hobbies and what I keep in these. So we'll start right here with this second to the top row. This one right here has my miscellaneous project supplies. And I made these little labels just in Canva. They're nothing special, but this one, it's just like projects that don't fit in my other craft boxes. So here we have my drawing supplies, my pencils, my erasers, my compass and rulers, this kind of compass, the mathematical kind, my Kitsuki gold repair kit for repairing ceramics and stuff like that with gold. It's like a Japanese technique. I have my matchbooks in here, which I plan to do a project with. I collect matchbooks. And my gem painting, which is a hobby I bought one kit for and never really quite got into it because it makes my neck hurt to work on it. So these are my miscellaneous project supplies. Going on from here, we have your typical craft supplies. So we have all kinds of stuff in here that just doesn't quite fit in my other boxes. We have acrylic paint. Miniature paints are actually not in here. I need to remove those two from the list. I have some 3D print projects that I need to paint. I have my beading supplies, my mixed media supplies, some rubber stamp carving tools, and my pipe cleaners that I use for projects sometimes. And here we see just different pieces of like clip art essentially related to what's in here. We have some paint tubes, we have some beads, some paint brushes, and some more beads and more paint. Then our next one is my embroidery supplies. This is part 2. I have 2 boxes of embroidery supplies because those projects are kind of big and take up a lot of space. So this is just my embroidery part 2. I have these little graphics on here that I had in Canva of some embroidered flowers. I like to do embroidery. I like to do embroidery and then I watercolor on top of it. Next we have my ASMR box. And this has all kinds of stuff. It has like my little dentist tools that I think make like nice sounds. I don't have a camera in here, but it fit the theme. This is where I keep my microphone, some different tools and utensils, my extra headphones for my microphone. So that's my ASMR supplies. If you wonder what kind of boxes these are called banker boxes. Bankers boxes. And these are great. I really like them for storing stuff. They're the perfect size for documents, which means that like they never get too heavy no matter like how much stuff you put in them. And they're very sturdy and they have lids. We'll go up next. Adjust my little neck mount here that I use for ASMR. Next we have my sewing supplies, and this is part 2. These are not especially organized. I need to get a bookshelf for them so they'll be more organized, but yeah, this is just part 2 of my sewing supplies. And here we just have all kinds of stuff. We have scissors, we have buttons and thread, tape measures, pins and pin cushions, needles and thread, special types of pins, and stuff that goes with my sewing machine. And again, this is just art on Canva. It's not exactly what my supplies look like. Next, we have a box for all of my Dungeons and Dragons miniatures and paints. Here I just picked some dragon designs, and I have a D20. Paintbrush. I have magnifying glasses in here, as well as some different paint supplies. Because I play Dungeons and Dragons and I love to paint my own miniatures. And I was gifted some as a wedding gift. Next we have bookbinding. I've been doing bookbinding since college. I mostly make pretty simple notebooks. So I do little skinny notebooks like this. And I want to start making some thicker ones like this more often. But this is my, well, part of my bookbinding supplies. There's some I'm missing that I need to add into here. Next is my clay and jewelry supplies. And this has like all kinds of little tools, like pliers and clay, that I can use to make different kinds of jewelry. Tweezers. This is a hobby I haven't really gotten that deep into yet, but I want to try it out. So I got some cheaper supplies to try it out. Next, we have my watercolors. I kept this label pretty plain. I lost all of this stuff for a while, and I just bought myself some nicer watercolors because I've been doing the hobby for so long. I usually like to go with cheaper, low-end supplies until I decide that I really like the hobby and I'm going to stick with it. But for this, I just picked a watercolor background. Next, we have some office supplies. This was just a border I found on Canva. It's not exactly what's in the box, but we have Sharpies and paint pens. We have staples, paper clips, and stuff like that, etc. We have mechanical pencils and lead, pens and pencils, markers and colored pencils, crayons, chalk, brush pens and watercolor pens, sticky notes, and index cards. So all of your various sorts of supplies that you might have for office supplies. And these right here are actually watercolor markers. So I may take these out and put them in my watercolor box. Next we have part one of my embroidery supplies. This one is where all of the supplies are, like the thread and the scissors and stuff like that. And the other one is where my supplies are for work in progress pieces. So unfinished pieces go in the other box. Yeah, this is just embroidery. I again just have some little embroidery themed graphics from Canva on here. Got some flowers, a little hummingbird, and some more flowers. Then we have the other half of my sewing supplies. This is just a lot of stuff, so it fits into 2 boxes. The Canva had really cute graphics for these. So yeah, that's just my sewing supplies. And then on the bottom row here, on the bottom row, we have my Lego stuff. I just found a background with some Lego bricks for this. Probably the knockoff version, just looking at them, but understandable, Canva might not have like actual Lego photos. Next we have some more sewing related stuff. These are clothes that we intend to either mend because they have tears or damage, or we plan to alter them, like tapering or hemming pants or shirts. So this is where we keep those work in progress projects. I'm taking sewing lessons from a friend, so she's teaching me how to do these kinds of projects. I think that mending and altering is a really great way to learn how to sew. The art here is just different little types of sewing stuff. Next we have paper craft, and I really couldn't find any photos that I thought carried out like what I make with this, but I do make paper flowers, and I make handmade greeting cards for holidays and birthdays and stuff like that. And I have like my wax seal stuff in here. I used to do origami, but I don't anymore, but it seemed like that would fit in this box. And then finally over here we have candle making. I love making candles. One thing I like to do with my candle making supplies is I have a bunch of empty tea light containers in here, and I will take a candle that doesn't burn anymore because it's burned down really low, and I'll melt down those candles and I'll put them into tea lights so I can get the last bit of wax out of them. We have some different scents on here that I like. We have some bergamot, which is a kind of citrus. We have cinnamon, some matchsticks, which aren't actually in this box. They're just there to fill up space on the design. Then we have rosemary and cedar, which are all smells that I really like. And I have a couple of other boxes down here on the floor. So I have this is my oldest label, which is why it's not the same size as the other ones. But I have my junk journaling supplies here. And that's just all kinds of different scraps of paper and tissue paper and paraphernalia from trips and stuff like that. And then this last one on the very bottom is my junk journaling scraps. And I just decorated this with different kinds of scraps of paper. But this is where I store little pieces of memorabilia and paper and stuff like that from my life, so I can use them in my junk journal, which this is my junk journal that I finished, which I might do a tour of some of these pages, but it's just different little pieces of collage art that I've made. Well, that's it. I hope that you enjoyed this little tour, and I'll probably eventually do organizing or tour videos of the contents that's in some of these boxes.